presented by American Express.
As the second round of the playoffs roll on, we're following a developing story here on NBA Today. Steph Curry, he was ruled out for Game 2 tonight with a grade 1 hamstring strain. Now, Curry has said that he's going to remain in Minnesota when Golden State does head back home for Games 3 and 4, knowing that the Warriors, they are assured a Game 5 in Minnesota. Steph, he spoke with reporters for the first time since the injury this morning.
This is new, and from all that I'm learning about how quickly you can get back, there has to be a healing process is just the way the body works. You can't accelerate it more than what it's telling you. So it'll be one of those, after a week, like really reevaluating every day to kind of understand when it's safe just to even think about playing, let alone like how much can you push it. And I know how tricky hamstrings can be, where they can fool you and think that it's healed even if you don't feel anything. And so that gray area is a little will be confusing, I'm sure, but I'll do everything in my power to get back as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. That is what Warriors fans were hoping to hear here. Chiney Ogwumike, Danny Green, you both have had hamstring injuries over the course of your career. Steph says this is new for him. It's not new for you. What is the battle that he's facing?
Two things. One, that's a man that wants to play. He's like, I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting the medical professionals. But when, Steph says it's tricky with a hamstring. Hamstrings, you could stand up, and I'm going to go, like, if we can go full, you can stand up and feel pretty good about yourself. But once you change directions, that's when things get tricky. It inhibits your stride ability, and that's what Steph needs more than anything else.
Yeah, when you try to accelerate, that's when the tricky part is. And I've had one of these when I was younger and when I was older. And it's just one of those things. Once you turn 37, your body reacts differently. For some reason, you just turn to paper. Things start ripping apart. Things start pulling. It's unbelievable. So, yes, when I was younger, it took about 2 weeks. You get a hamstring. It feels like you can play, but you don't want to push it too much. Once you accelerate, you don't want to pop that thing, because once you pop it, you're out for a very long time.
And basically what I'm demonstrating, y'all, is like when you stand like this, you might feel good, but the moment you start moving around, that's when you pull, and it might be unexpected.
And Steph Curry is one of the shiftiest players. You've highlighted, Chiney, how much he runs during the course of a game. He needs to make sure he gets that right, because to your point, Danny, he does not want to make it worse. What we're all circling is that gap that the Golden State Warriors have between Games 5 and Game 6, where they don't just have 2 days between games. They have a couple. Maybe that'll provide enough time for Steph Curry to come back. But again, we don't have a firm timetable yet. Game 2 for the Warriors and the Timberwolves, that's going down tonight. But Game 2 in TD Garden between the Celtics and the Knicks, that was yesterday. And I think it went the way that every single person predicted it would. Get your cookies.
Knicks by 1 at 91-90. Celtics not using the timeout. Tatum across midcourt with 10. Tatum behind the Horford screen. Crossover, foul line with 4. Left block, step back, stolen by Bridges. Another great defensive play for the Knicks. They've got it. They've won it.
Yeah.
What a scene outside Madison Square Garden last night. Chiney, it was a little party on Broadway.
That's not a party. That's a rave.
I mean, for good reason.
It's a riot.
This was a comeback for the ages. Fans taken to the streets, understandably so. The Boston Celtics, they led by as many as 20 in last night's game 2. So you got your lab coats.
Yes.
You got your gloves on. We need to examine the anatomy of a comeback here, because it takes the first ingredient. It is a star role player punching above their weight. Enter Mikal Bridges. That is exactly what he did here in the fourth quarter, Chiney. He had 0 points, 0 of 8 coming into the frame.
I love this, because the biggest criticism of Coach Thibodeau, was that, all right, we don't rest our guys. He was resting his stars and Brunson, and what did he do? Being cold going into this moment, that shows you the confidence of this guy, Mikal Bridges. And once he sees one going, he just explodes.
Yep. I mean, the professionalism from him of staying locked in mentally, that's the hardest part as a pro. And when you don't have it going for 3 quarters, but in that fourth quarter saying, all I need is see one go in and continue that, that streak, that's all he needed.
And I would like to say it's fair to say that he has a side of a court, a spot.
He had 14 points in the quarter. Here's Bridges on that fourth.
Everything to my teammates, man. They held me up, throughout the whole, me missing every shot, until that point. And it's really, truly them, them just holding me together and keep me mentally right and just telling me to keep going. And I think Coach also just trusted me, coming out the fourth, running to play for me and just putting that confidence in me. But man, it's really my teammates and my coaches, man. They really helped me up.
All right, so that's the first part of the anatomy of a comeback. It takes a star role player stepping up. It also takes a team that started off hot going cold. Kendrick Perkins, I mean ice cold. Kendrick Perkins, I mean the polar plunge level of cold. That's what the Boston Celtics did from three-point range as we head back to TD Garden to see exactly the way that it looked here. The Celtics, they were 15 of 60, 25% shooting perk on three-pointers in game one.
And they just kept shooting. I mean, look, but a great job by the Knicks. They're taking away the driving gaps. They're loading up the paint. That's what the Tom Thibodeau team is going to do right here. I mean, this is Peyton Pritchard's shot. But look, OG Anunoby just making the second effort right there, going to contest that shot was huge. But at what point do you attack the basket? But you can't get more wide open than this.
No
right?
defender in sight here. And so far in the series, Perk, Boston has only shot 25% on wide open threes. They were expected to make 41% of those, according to Genius IQ. Horrendous, right? That's just the word for this. Shooting wise in the fourth quarter, they made just 5 of 24 shots and 2 of 11 3-pointers. 2 of their 3 worst shooting fourth quarters have now come in these last 2 games against the Knicks, which leads us to part 3 of our science project, friends. How to close a game and seal a comeback. It takes a Brunson burner. And that is what we saw, Shanae.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was not his biggest performing night, but that shot said, hello, I won the award for a reason. Yes, you can droop your head.
Stepped up when it counted. That's when they needed him. Mr. Clutch Player of the Year for a reason.
And then right here, check how much time is left in the shot clock when Jaylen Brown takes that shot.
Yeah, and now you're setting up Brunson with a shorter court, having the advantage again. This is a guy that he knows his shot was not necessarily falling. He found ways to get contact, be physical. That's why Perk calls him Big
Use
Body
the right
Brunson.
hand, too.
But right here, Jason Tatum, a perfectly executed ATO.
It was elegant. The force switch, and then, of course, getting the highest percentage of shots.
So Boston up 1, but who do you call? Jaylen Brunson. Watch right here. Drew Holiday. He is one of the best defenders in the league. You were talking about discipline here.
Yeah, he normally gets those steals in the past. Not against Jaylen Brunson, you're not.
And this is the second made free throw to put the New York Knicks up 1. Here's the thing. The Boston Celtics, they have a timeout. Joe Mazzulla, why didn't you take it?
I had one left, got a good look on the exact same play 20 seconds earlier, tried to execute the exact same thing.
So they didn't take it. And here's the last chance here for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, he's the guy you want to have it. Shanae, you were talking about how difficult this is to force him to that side.
Yeah, it is extremely difficult, but guess what? That's what the Knicks do. They win the game not just by points, but also defensively, back-to-back, heart and hustle.
Heart,
elegant.
hustle, and Mikal Bridges with the steal. It's the New York Knicks that take a series lead, 2 games to 1.
All right, you guys, when you think about the Boston Celtics losing the lead twice, making history, 20 points up does not matter. It was wild. The Celtics led by 16 with 8.5 minutes left, and that's when things truly fell apart for the defending champs. I mean, let's break down these final 2 plays because I love the first one, which is why they went to it again. This is why I love it. Out of timeout, I said it was elegant. You force a switch. It's 30 feet away from the basket. Now you have the post player on their heels, Mitchell Robinson. At this point, it was almost barbecue chicken because it was stuttering, going backwards. And I love this. In 2 games, they were settling for threes. They didn't find threes. They knocked it down. Jason Tatum with the dunk.
Unfortunately, for the last play, the opposite of elegant. They didn't get the same matchup or the same mismatch. They started with OG. You know, OG had a better pickup point the second possession in that fourth quarter. As you see right here, the percentages of Jason Tatum, his shooting woes, and the Celtics. But in the second clip here, as you can see, OG Onyewu picks up a 3-point line. Knowing he's not Steph Curry or Damian Lillard, he's not going to shoot from back here. So now that shrinks the floor for your big man to get out and play, you know, a little bit more better defense. Mr. Robinson does a great job switching. You get the switch.
Impressive.
Al Horford's got to get out of there. You got to give him space. And Jason Tatum losing that ball changed the whole trajectory of that play because he couldn't get by Mitchell Robinson. Now he's got 3 guys contesting the shot. Tries to make a last play pass, bad decision. This was a terrible, terrible last possession of the game for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's KYP. We see that with scouting reports. Know your personnel, but also for your teams to be able to make adjustments on the fly.
And you know what? I thought when they were up by 16 with 8.5 left, I thought I could go line dancing. I thought it was a wrap. I thought maybe, you could go to bed early.
Tell us you were
Exactly. You would watch a TV show. No. New York outscored Boston 23-6 the rest of the game. The Celtics, they missed 13 of their final 14 shots. They clanked their final 7 3-point attempts. Now, moments ago, Jason Tatum, he spoke about the end of the game.
I take full ownership on the way that I've played in this series. And, can't sugarcoat anything. I need to be better. And, I expect to be a lot better.
All right, so he's taking responsibility, Perk, for the way that the end of the game went here. What do you think is the biggest problem right now facing the Boston Celtics, and can they overcome it?
Well, the biggest problem is them not getting to the free throw line. And I'm talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but particularly Jason Tatum, right? When you're great and you're a guy that's striving for greatness, all the greats that I played with, when their shots are not falling, they get to the free throw line. You find a way to put pressure on the opponent and the referees to get to the line. And I think right now, it's all about the mental toughness with Jason Tatum. I believe he's in his own head, right? You see the last second, the shot that he had to tie the game or to take the lead or whatever, and we watch him. He wasn't confident, right? He didn't have the swag like a Tyrese Halliburton. And so if I'm Tatum, if my three-point shot is not falling, if my mid-range is not falling, I got to put my head down and attack the basket. That's my biggest takeaway.
Perk, to me, it's not the free throws. It's the idea that over a stretch, the crucial stretch of this game, it was feast or famine.
Right.
They went 8 minutes, the final 8 minutes of the game, with only one field goal. When you're a championship team, you have to find different ways to win. Now, that includes free throws. That includes, a lot of people say analytics. I tweeted it yesterday. We might be witnessing the end of extreme analytics where you keep shooting threes when you actually have guys that are excellent in the mid-range. If you think about the matchups, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, you have Hart in front of you. You have Brunson in front of you. I'm not mad if you don't get to the rim. Just shoot over those guys. We watched many games where so many players, even Karl Anthony Towns, did you guys see the mismatches? He turned around and just shot over guys.
Yeah.
I think that to me was the issue. They couldn't find a way to put the ball in the basket multiple times down the stretch.
I'm with Perk here too. Jason, I think, had 2 free throws for the game. But end of the day, there's not just Jason and Jaylen that has to score, but they can create a basket. These guys are too good and too deep of a team to not have a field goal within 7 or 8 minutes. You can't go that long of a stretch. Find your way to get to the free throw line, but down the stretch, I also saw a lot of hero ball.
Right.
Not just on offense, but defense. Drew Holiday, very disciplined defender. You don't usually gamble for that type of steal. But on offense, I saw too many fadeaway jumpers from the turnaround from Jason Tatum, from Jaylen Brown. Early in the shot clock, trying to bully ball Jalen Brunson. Just bad shot after bad shot, and then get good possessions at the end of the game.
Are you trying to say that they try to make too many sexy plays?
Just too much hero ball. Usually they trust each other. I'm okay with missed threes, but find each other, drive kick, and get open shots. The last 2 minutes, they just shot too many fadeaway jumpers over bodies.
Yeah.
Well, you got to credit the New York Knicks, too. And by the way, that searching out big body Brunson at the end in these 4 quarters, that hasn't been working.
Yeah.
Like, he's been defending his behind off. So they might want to go to something else. I would love to see what a 2-man game look like with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Can we see that one time? I wonder if you could use Jason Tatum as a screener and roll into the basket. Like, can we see some of that action at times? I'm just asking. Here's another thing. Shanae, Danny, especially you, Shanae. Me and Danny were role players, okay? But Shanae, as the go-to guy, right, go-to girl on the squad, and at any time when you felt like breaking the play, the offensive set, you did it.
Yes.
Was the coach going to take you out?
No.
No. So my thing is that I understand the system is shoot a whole bunch of threes, but JB, Joe Mazzulla is not going to bench you if you decide to do something else, or you see something else, or you want to attack the lane.
I think what makes this a little bit, if you want to look glass half full, but it's also a little bit concerning here for the Boston Celtics. They've led all but 12 minutes of these last 2 games. So that is one way where you're saying, okay, they were an incredible road team during the regular season, 33-8 on the road, the best record in the NBA this year. You can find some sort of solace in that, but they've been leading the whole way and just haven't executed down the stretch.
They gave the wrong, and I said this yesterday, not team, but city life.
Yeah.
Like, this is the biggest game to hit New York, apart from the WNBA Finals, okay?
Yeah.
In a very, very long time.
And now the New York Knicks, they're feeling themselves. They're feeling pretty good. Maybe no one more so than Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson at the podium.
It's all about just focusing, having a clear mind, and just trying to win the game. That's just my mindset.
I thought you were tweeting, so I kept refreshing.
Oh, no, I was trying to order some Uber Eats.
You guys both talked before this.
You guys have been part of a national championship.
Don't do it.
No, sorry.
No, I'm saying him.
My fault.
I got one.
He's been part of one.
I got one. That's
I've
all
been part of two.
I got one. No one's worried about the fire alarm.
So to say that the Thunder put it on the Nuggets last night, it might be a little bit of an understatement. OKC had a historic night, just starting in the first half. With 2 Chet Holmgren free throws to end the first half, the Thunder set an NBA playoff record for the most points in a first half with 87. It's also tied for the most in any playoff half here. So let's dive a little deeper, because with their 43-point win in Game 2, the Thunder, they became the first team in NBA history with multiple 40-point wins in a single postseason. That's after leading by at least 30 for 27 minutes and 44 seconds in Game 2. That's the 4th most by any team in a playoff game since 1988. SGA, he was incredible. He became the first player in franchise history with 30 points on 80% shooting in a playoff game. He also put up, Shanae, a plus 51 plus minus.
Crazy!
That is the best by any player in a playoff game since 98. And the Thunder, they dominated defensively as well. They scored 34 points off turnovers, their most in a playoff game since moving to Oklahoma City. They also held the Nuggets to 28 paint points on 38% shooting on layups and dunks. It's Denver's worst such shooting in a playoff game in the Nikola Jokic era. That is a statement if I have ever seen one.
Yeah, but we got punked, and we didn't play well enough, and they came out with the right intensity, and we didn't.
Basically, it was one team playing tonight. Even the turnovers, misses, they were aggressive, they were going by us, they were rebounding the ball, they were just better, they were much, much better than us today, and that's the score. That's why the score is so bad.
Punked, that's one way to put it. Perk, what statement did the Thunder make in this blowout against the Nuggets?
The same statement the head coach just said. They did get punked. This game was all about physicality, right? And we talk about, the big fella and him being the best player in the league. Well, I saw a Thunder team and their bigs bring the physicality. They were fouling hard. Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren was into them. And I love those 12 minutes by the light-skinned Jalen Williams off the bench. I thought they wasn't giving Jokic anything easy. He fouled out. He had the worst plus-minus of his career. It was just a frustrating game, but that's the type of physicality you got to bring when you're playing against Jokic and Aaron Gordon. They shut him down as well.
I mean, it's a great win for OKC, but I'm not impressed.
Really?
This is what they're supposed to do. They're the number 1 seed. They're 15-plus games ahead in the standings of Denver. They actually let Denver come in and steal one from when they lost home court now. So I'll be more impressed. Do it 3 more times, or at least 2 more times. So if they get a win or 2 wins in Denver, then I'll be impressed. But you're the home court team. You're the number 1 seed. You're supposed to win at home. You lost when you split with Denver.
Bar, Danny.
This win actually could go. It gives Denver some motivation, a chip on their shoulder to come back in Game 3 and actually make this a series that is not supposed to be. OKC has been the juggernaut of the playoffs. Everybody talks about them, how great they're supposed to be. You're supposed to do this.
I vehemently disagree with
you. Put every
I disagree.
V in that.
I think it's time we put more respect on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's name. All right, you take a loss. That happens. He even said it on the podium after last game. To me, I'm looking to see how you respond. And they responded in great fashion, in emphatic fashion. Why am I impressed? People sleep on this man too much. He had 34 points in 30 minutes. He went 11 for 13 from the field. He scored 8 for 10, I think, off the dribble, and he made about almost all of his uncontested shots.
Yeah.
We have yet to see his MVP big-time game yet, but still, this is the model of consistency that we've come to know from the Oklahoma City Thunder. And to me, what separated, Shai's greatness is his assists. He had 8 assists. The first game, he had 8.
And defense, he was good.
In 40 minutes, but this time, in 30 minutes, he had 8. He was solid. This team goes as he goes, and I really feel like you played with Kawhi.
I did.
And, obviously with SGA, I feel like they have the same demeanor.
For sure.
They're so good, but it gets slept on because of this.
the monotone.
Yeah.
The aura is just a little.
I'm consistent in everything I
not
do.
Flashy. I get it. I just need to see it on the road.
The good news for the Denver.
I hear you. I hear you, but boy.
The good news for the Denver Nuggets is whether you lose by 43 or you lose by 1, it is just one game. One thing, though, that I'm keeping an eye on, Jokic had 13 turnovers in that game. That's pretty uncharacteristic. They are turning him over at a high clip. If that continues, then maybe Danny will be impressed. Coming up here. Steph Curry out tonight for game 2 with a hamstring injury, but Golden State's been here before. That is, without Steph in the playoffs. They're 9-3 all time in postseason games that he's missed. But of course, all 12 of those came in 2016 and 2018 when the team was a juggernaut. There's no Kevin Durant or prime Klay Thompson walking through the door. Our own young Masuk is in Minnesota covering the Golden State Warriors. And a little bit of a surprise, players don't always speak after they're injured. Steph Curry did earlier today, What did we learn?
Malika, Stephen Curry said this morning that he isn't sure how long it will take him to recover from his grade 1 strained left hamstring because he's never had a hamstring injury before. Curry knows he has to be careful that he cannot rush back. He said he understands that hamstring injuries can be tricky and how it can fool you into thinking you're ready to return. Curry, though, talked about how game 1 shows that the Warriors might be able to give him enough time to recover.
No, they talked to me. This is the great vibe in our locker room in terms of, them trying to hold the fort down. We have a lot of confidence that we can, still win the series and, guys step up no matter how it looks. And it's obviously a situation where you want to think positively and optimistically that we can win games and buy me some time to get back. They understand the task. We all are in it together, and I love the feedback I got from my guys of understanding what the challenge is.
I asked Steph, what is the bar that he has to clear before returning? Curry said he didn't know because this is the first time he's been dealing with a hamstring injury. He's been out in the playoffs before due to injury, but he's 37 now, and he called this a gut punch because he doesn't know how many more opportunities he will have for a deep playoff run.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was speaking with Steph earlier this year, he says that he doesn't know when the end of the road is going to be, but he knows he's closer to it than to the starting point. And this Golden State Warriors team, the all-time greats, they get up for these sorts of opportunities. We really appreciate the reporting. The Stephless Warriors, they're going to be put to the test tonight. And I know who we should call with the answers to that test. There's no one who is better at breaking down tape than Shanae.
Roll the tape. Oh, snap. This is my sister squad. I have something up my sleeve. Big Cali energy here at the Intuit Dome. We have a big cheat sheet on the Jumbotron. The biggest cheat sheet ever. Look at that finish. Turnaround 360. She has been balling. They ain't settling. Texas stays winning. Let me talk nerdy to you. Without Steph Curry the next few games, the Golden State Warriors are truly the underdogs, but I would not count them out just yet. Different jersey, but same playoff Jimmy. Let's take last game, for example. Between scoring or assisting, Jimmy Butler accounted for all 100% of the Warriors' fourth quarter points versus the T-Wolves. And I'll show you, it's not just scoring. He had 20 on the night. It was his assists. He had 8 assists. Now watch this. He's so good drawing too. This time he has a good matchup defensively for the T-Wolves in Jaden McDaniels. He attacks the baseline, draws Naz Reid, and gets it to Kuminga. Necessary buckets for Kuminga. Again, on this possession, it's Naz guarding him, which means he's going to try to go off the dribble and draw 2. This time from the top of the key, he has great vision, finds GP2. I think he had 2 threes on the night. So he was straight up facilitating. And this last play right here, I love this because this is a double drag screen across the top of the key for him to score. Naz is low, but it doesn't matter. He's going to draw him out. Anytime a player draws out, that means he's going to attack. Great vision to Buddy Hield to be able to knock down the 3. So it's not just scoring, it's assisting, and he will have to do that all in his bag. Now, Jimmy has been a huge boost in the Warriors' biggest weakness, the non-Steph minutes. They have outscored their opponents by 97 points when Steph was on the bench and Jimmy was on the floor. For context, before the trade, they were minus 91 when Steph was resting. So if Golden State can steal another game, it will be behind this man. I guess we can call him Batman.
But it does still feel like an enormous task, right, Chiney, without Steph Curry to be able to get this done, especially because I fully expect this Timberwolves team to be firing on all cylinders. It was a gut punch for them in game one. What can the Warriors do here? How can they stay in this, Danny?
I don't think there is much. It's hard for them. They just, without Steph.
Just a ray of sunshine today.
Sorry, today. So these teams, these injuries are really killing the playoffs. And it sucks to see Steph out right now. But the Warriors team, Jimmy is a great player, and he can turn it up a notch. But this Minnesota team is no slouch either. They saw what they did against the Lakers. When Ant-Man's playing, I don't see them shooting that poorly again. They're going to shoot better. And for Golden State to win a game, they have to win one out of three. They have to play extremely well, all hands on deck. From Pat Spencer to Kuminga to anybody else who comes off that bench, they have to score. And Gary Payton II, everybody has to give a huge boost, and I just don't see that happen.
I feel like if we're making this bite-sized, Perk, the Warriors, they just have to win one out of their next 4 games. That would make it a 2-2 series. How can they achieve that?
Well, first of all, I love bite size.
So how big are your bites?
Number two. Danny, I disagree with you, okay? The playoffs has been one of the greatest postseasons that I've seen in the last 5 years. I understand the injuries, but they still been phenomenal. Number 3, all eyes on Buddy Hield for me. Is he averaging, 27 points over the last 2 games?
Yes.
Now all of a sudden the third defender who's been guarding him because you are playing alongside Steph and Jimmy, now you get the primary defender, which is going to be Jaden McDaniels. 6'9", long arms, can scratch his ankles while standing straight up. That's the defender that you're going to get. Can you still get that 20 plus or even 20 plus points with a game plan around you? That's what I'm going to be looking at, because if they're going to win a game while Steph is out, yes, Jimmy, the point forward, playoff Jimmy, he has to come alive, but he got to have a Robin. Right now, that Robin has to be Buddy Hield when you're looking at it from a scoring standpoint.
And to answer your question, Perk, the answer is no. I just don't see him doing that. With the primary defender like Jaden McDaniels on him, he might have one decent night, but 27 a night, it's not happening.
And I think it's also hard when you think, okay, will Draymond Green shoot better? Starting the game.
He did in game 1.
That's my point. So, you're playing the law of averages,
right?
Which makes it a little bit more difficult.
I think we saw this. We talked about this on the prep call earlier. We saw what happened when, the third best defender, everything switches around. We saw it for the Los Angeles Lakers when Austin Reeves all of a sudden had the Timberwolves' third best defender on him, which is a better third best defender than on any other team. Things start to get real serious real quick. And Minnesota, they're going to clamp down here because they're hoping to avoid being the third team to go down 0-2 at home this round. Chris Finch, he had some strong opinions on what went down in game 1. Take a listen.
On defensive rebounding, they do a lot of fouling, holding, shoving, pushing, and tackling Rudy. That's clear. We'll send a bunch of those clips into the league. In fact, I'm not sure I know another player in the league with Rudy's pedigree that is allowed to be physically beaten on the way he is. We'll certainly try to take justice into our own hands whenever we can. I think it's the nature of physical sport. But by the same token, my God, you should see some of these clips. They're just it looks like pulling guards and linemen out there just taking shots at Rudy.
Don't worry, Chris Finch. Our detective Dave McMenamin is on the case. He's covering the Timberwolves side of this series, and we just heard him say that they are taking things into their own hands, justice into their own hands. What should we expect from Minnesota tonight, Dave?
Yeah, Malika, to borrow a word from Chiney, he was vehement about how much he felt like the Warriors were playing outside the lines, basically making illegal contact that wasn't seen by the referees. And really, it's getting to the issue of the rebounding. The Warriors won the boards battle 51-41 in game 1, and they had 18 offensive rebounds, which led to open kickouts to guys like Buddy Hield. When you look at the stat sheet and you see that Buddy Hield and Brandon Podziemski combined for 16 rebounds, and Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Naz Reid combined for 12. That's a problem for the Wolves. Now, obviously, it's not just going to be the referees and the officiating to try to get them back into this thing. Dante DiVincenzo told me that they had a full accountability film session yesterday where no one was safe in that room. And, the result of it was people like Jade McDaniels saying, we don't need to worry about the refs. I need to do better and get more than 4 rebounds myself.
And that is resulting in them saying, you know what, tonight, that we're not going to leave it up to the fate of the referees. Dave McMenamin, thank you so very much for stopping by NBA Today. Perk, with that as the backdrop, what do you want to see from the Timberwolves tonight? What you smiling about?
Hold on.
Get him, Perk.
Say Ruley getting tackled and he's getting beaten. Like, man, what?
This is a crime scene.
Man, stop it. This is what it's about, man. You in the trenches. You 7'2". You down there battling. They disrespecting you. They putting smaller guards on you. Get them elbows up. You know what I mean? All it take is one through the chin, a shoulder in the chin that stops all that. Get physical with them. What else you supposed to do? You know what they teach in film room when you get in the postseason and your big goes to help, or you have a smaller guy on the big? They teach you. They say get into the fight. Get into his legs. By no means should he be able to get a rebound. You better box out. You better do everything that you need to do. All bets are off. You at war right now. What is Coach Finch talking about? He tripping.
Perk, cool booty for a second, okay? Don't we know as post players?
It's war.
Thank you.
Don't we know as post players, this is what Coach Finch to me is talking about. As post players, when you have a defender that is smaller, they get away with much more, right? So like they start punching your side, they hold you, like they grab your arms. That's what he's talking about, not necessarily like, oh, my guy's getting manhandled. I think the advantage that the Warriors have is when you play small ball, you get away with more. But this is where I would say on Rudy Gobert. Like, this is my guy. I appreciate all that he's done, but when you are finesse at the rim, when you're not dunking, when you're not playing with force, you don't get the benefit of finesse, like those types of calls. And so that's the only issue there. But Perk, I feel like we're speaking the same language.
Yes, for sure. Especially against guys that are 6'4", 6'5".
They're gonna do everything.
Brandon Podziemski out push you in the paint. You got to find a way to get low, get the wide base, use your elbows like Perk said. Find a swim move. They can call some offensive fouls. But you got to be able to take offensive foul to set the tone.
This might be silly, but Perk, I guess your advice to Rudy is if Podziemski's doing all these crazy things to keep you back, you just got to send a message once and like just sort of, hey, you can't play with me. That's what I feel.
I'm not saying that, but I just don't look in the playoffs I feel like this playoffs bring me back to 1995, 1996. Right, the physicality of it. And I want to keep it that way. Like, I don't want the coaches to start complaining. No, you're in the war. You in the war, Rudy. Like, all it takes is one. Take them up with you.
I think
quit going up so gingerly, man. They don't snatch the screws out the damn rim.
Go up jiggly?
Gingerly.
Oh, gingerly. I didn't go up jiggly. Go up gingerly. The one player that is going to need to set the tone, and Chris Finch called him out after last game, is Anthony Edwards. Of course, part of it is Rudy Gobert, absolutely, and what he does, anchoring their defense in particular. But Anthony Edwards, he really struggled shooting the ball in game one, Shanae. What are you expecting from him?
The competitive factor. Like every time we tuned into the playoffs last year and this year, apart from game one, we knew that he was going to will his team to win. And I don't think that fight was there, and that's why he was calling him out. And Ant can handle it. Again, this is the guy who led the NBA in made threes, and I think that was strategically because he knows that the mid-range is a little bit more difficult to manage. But he also, as long as he's been in the NBA, has captivated our hearts and minds because of how he attacks the basket.
Absolutely.
When's the last time we've seen, maybe apart from the Lakers, I mean, that was not too long ago, like one of those sensational plays that gets everyone up out of the arena? Like, those are the types of things that gets his teammates going.
And I think that was like game 2 when they took a loss. It's been a while since but I expect to see an aggressive Anthony Edwards. He needs to get to the basket more, get to the free throw line more, stop settling for threes. And get his, because the team's not shooting well from the perimeter. So I expect him to come out with some anger, some aggression, and just have him be in a force like he normally is in the first series like he was against the Lakers.
And we started to see a little bit of that in the fourth quarter. It was just too little too late. So he needs to continue that acceleration that we saw. And how lucky are we to have 5-time Olympic gold medalist, basketball legend Sue Bird joining us here on NBA Today, especially because, Sue, I always appreciate you taking the time. But today, you're here with some really exciting news. You are the newly appointed managing director of the women's national team for USA Basketball. That is incredibly exciting. What are you most looking forward to in this role?
So much. I obviously played for USA Basketball for so many years, won a ton of gold medals as a player, and I think I'm just excited to be back with the program and now in this like supportive role, win some more gold medals.
Well, yeah, that's such a. I love that little flex. Like, oh yeah, I won a ton of gold medals, and now I'm looking forward to winning many, many more. Team USA has won 8 straight gold medals here, Sue. What does that mean to be a part of building this team, going after number 9, right here where I'm standing in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, to be able to play on U.S. soil is incredible. It's an opportunity that I don't think any player would take for granted. I know I don't. I didn't get it with USA Basketball, so I know it's something all players are going to be excited about. And to win a gold medal on home soil is also incredible. So obviously a lot of work to do. I know I sounded like I was flexing, but we all know that it's going to be hard.
No, we call this is called a humble brag. And I'll keep going. If you're not going to do it, I'll do it for you, right? You've won 5 Olympic gold medals, 4 World Cup titles as a member of Team USA. Do you have a favorite memory when you think back to those times?
You know, it's kind of cliche, but I feel like every athlete does answer with this. It's never about the actual medal. It's from time to time, the podium does give you a good memory, don't get me wrong, but it's usually about the bus rides, the card games in the hotel. Like, those were the best memories live. You obviously just saw a picture of Diana Taurasi. There I am with my college coach as well, Coach Auriemma. To be able to do it with people that you really grew up with in this game is incredible. So that's where a lot of my favorite memories live.
And now it seems like there's a new group of young talent that's taking the helm, that's taking the mantle and working to push all of this forward. What is exciting to you when you look at the younger players that are now carrying the torch for this game?
Yeah, I mean, the game is in an amazing place. It's in amazing hands. I think it's it's about evolution. It's about players getting in their bag, as they say. But in all honesty, all these young players do have a skill set that we haven't seen in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So it is really exciting. It's going to make my job really hard, but I'd rather have that problem.
Yeah, it's always better when you have too much talent that you have to be forced to pick from, right? Sue, you are wearing many hats here. Not only are you now working with USA Basketball as well, but you are busy in your, I'm putting this in air quotes, your retirement. Sis, I don't think there's anything retirement about this because you're also launching a new podcast here, The Bird's Eye View. What can listeners expect when they tune in?
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden, I'm like a podcaster. When did that happen?
I love it.
Yeah, I am really excited for Bird's Eye View. It's going to be all about basketball. Just my thoughts on the game, on the state of the game, different plays, different play breakdowns, but also heavy with player interviews, which I'm really looking forward to. Just 2 basketball players having that conversation. So I'm really excited about it.
I'm looking forward to that as well. I tend to listen to podcasts when I'm driving into work, and I'm always craving a new one. I can't wait to hear you. Sue Bird, thank you so much as always for stopping by NBA Today.
What's your favorite team? Comment below, and if you liked the video, please leave a like. This really helps the channel grow and brings you even more content. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive all notifications. With each game, we notice that the NBA is getting more competitive every day, and all the teams are looking for reinforcements to win the championship. And only here can you follow your favorite team daily with incredible content from different sources. Here on the channel, there are new videos every day with analysis, curiosities, and the best moments in basketball. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for following along. The NBA doesn't stop, and neither do we. Until the next video. NBA, the passion that connects us.